What's up, everyone? I'm just going to play some music for 30 seconds, and then we're going to dive straight in. So bear with me, just 30 seconds of your time. All right, I think we're ready. So, this is how to make money with AI. Yes, it's very clickbaity and it's meant to grab your attention because really that's what's happening. We're going to explore some new tools, see what's happening in the week in the world of AI over the last week. And yes, some of these tools are pretty incredible and they're creating entirely new markets and new ways of doing things, which, if you know how to make money, that's where the money is. It's in the new opportunities and the new things that are being done that have never been done before. Uh, so you find those industries and you just replicate and go through. And what I've gotten really good at is finding the new tools, testing those new tools, and relaying what actually works to you. So that's what we're going to go through in this session. We've got so much packed. I feel like this week has been pretty wild for not just the markets with the fluctuations and some of the volatility, um, but also across the AI space. So I'd love to dive into that. Just for some housekeeping, you're welcome to drop a comment or a chat into the live stream, and I'll do my best to go through them while I'm in the live stream. And if not, I'll get to them at the end. Feel free to share this to your friends because, well, you want everyone to make money, right? So if you want to make someone else some money, or you just want to keep it to yourself, I mean, share the love, do what you can. This is going to be great. It'd be great to see everyone getting supercharged together. We're all coming together and doing some pretty wild stuff. So yeah, I just love to have you all on board, and yeah, this is going to be a pretty fun session. At the end, I'm going to also go through a bit of a live demo where I'm actually going to get in and start using some of these tools, and we're going to scroll a bit of some of the platforms I use to get news and just test things live with you. And I think that's the kind of the change from last week. The biggest change is that, first of all, trying to bring a bit more energy to this. And the second one is I want to be more authentic with you guys to show you my actual process of where I'm going, what I'm doing, and some of the tricks that I'm finding along the way. So to do that, I will be sharing my screen. We'll be jumping into some new tools that I've been finding and some new tricks I've been using with AI. All right, so let's dive in. Recap is that, for Australia, we had a few conferences in Sydney that really dove into the ethics, analytics, and business applications of AI. These are particularly useful to understand some of the conversations that are happening in AI. However, I do get concerned about too much talk about ethics because it should be more about the opportunities here and how to mitigate the risks rather than which we don't often know until we've tried. Whereas we would really like to be able to push forward a bit faster on some of these AI initiatives, but with real, value for money evaluation on which vendors to go through. So that would be what I would say is these conferences are great. But you've also got to be aware that a lot of these guys are paying to be there and are not always the best value for money just because they've got the loudest voice in the room. So yeah, it's always good to assess who you're going with. Sydney really has been the hotspot on the discussion on how AI can supercharge businesses, where they're looking at analytics, customer insights, and streamlining operations in general. Whereas this AI for Business Summit featured big names like Atlassian and Telstra sharing how they are using predictive analytics to stay ahead. That's where I think that the biggest value proposition for AI is predictive analytics, to look ahead and change businesses from a past looking into what's happened to what's about to happen, and staying more active and alert, and so they can be agile. That's a really big problem, and I would say that with one of these use cases here is to make sure that we're staying proactive in our approach to business, and particularly as you get bigger, you can do that more and more. But there's some great tools I'll show you that allow you to do some predictive analytics from the start, just to quickly brainstorm which way to go. So there is ethics was a huge focus in this. So they were digging into questions like, how do we make sure AI doesn't amplify biases? Or how do we protect user data when algorithms are crunching numbers 24/7? Yes, interesting. These events aren't just talk fests. They're really, really quite shaping these real world strategies. Apparently, a lot of these businesses walked away with playbooks on how to use AI responsibly. So it's good to keep an eye out on these events. I've got a few playbooks myself that I can share with you if you want to send me a message. Personally, I stay in the loop with the team at Snowflake, which just did their live streams last week and have excellent playbooks. And I've been able to take all the notes from their sessions and distill that down into a single handbook using AI. Thank you very much. So if you would like that, I'm happy to share that out. I've aggregated quite a few of these live streams, so that's there. But if you've got any other live streams, or sorry, if you've got any other conferences that you really like about AI, robots, whatever it is in Australia, China, US, across the world, drop it in the chat and yeah, I'll have a look. So next, firms are starting to adopt AI for automation, facing privacy challenges. So a few of these Australian companies are jumping in, particularly for automation, ranging from healthcare to retail. They're using it to cut costs and work smarter. For instance, this company called Zipco are leveraging AI to spot fraud in e-commerce, while hospitals are forecasting supply chain needs with machine learning. It's great that because these tasks that used to take days are now done in seconds. So that's an incredible point for a lot of these things, is that you could do it before, but it would take a long time to do it. And that kind of removed the agility of getting that information. Now we can really get the information in seconds and start acting on it, figuring out our game plan, and start communicating that as well to others. But there is a catch, because privacy is a big hurdle here. As AI is gobbling up huge amounts of data, companies are wrestling with how to keep that info safe. Recent debates highlight fears about data breaches or AI systems making decisions without transparency, and the Australian government is even pushing voluntary AI ethics principles to guide businesses. But many are still figuring out how to balance innovation with trust. It's a tightrope walk. If you're a business owner watching, how are you handling AI in your work? I would love to hear. Feel free to drop it in the comments. This is particularly why I start talking about the compliance aspect when you use these AI models. So there are ways around this, and there are ways, not really around, but to mitigate these risks from a technical perspective and from a business legal perspective. You are able to build private models within the cloud or locally now, and that's becoming more and more cost effective to do so. And there are ways you can leverage their APIs in a safe way and keep your data in these secure data infrastructure layers that allow you to bring all your business's data together and create security and integrity around that data. So that is why I like leaning into the guys at Snowflake, because they do some great work there, and they've been a major partner for me with my digital transformation. So I highly recommend that. Snowflake on an AWS deployment, that will work you wonders. And some great tools I can start to show you that work within that space. Finally, let's talk about the policy. How is it changing? Because really, it's more than just tech now. It's becoming society, it's becoming business. AI, tech, and business are all merging. And so Australia is really bringing that conversation up to the forefront about responsible AI use, especially for businesses. So there's no really laws yet, but voluntary frameworks like the AI ethics principles, which I have a few breakdowns of that on my LinkedIn if you would like to have a look. I've got a great breakdown on the ethics principles. Or you can send me a message and I'll share it with you. But they're nudging these companies towards a transparency and accountability. So clear privacy policies, explainable algorithms, and ways for people to challenge AI decisions. So what does that mean? You get to see how the algorithm makes its decisions. That's transparent first and foremost. And you can build these guardrails in so that it explains how it's making its decision. You can also get trained, which is my bread and butter, on how to challenge AI decisions and and use it to enhance your critical thinking, which requires you to challenge the AI. That is the number one thing I've noticed lately. You cannot just ask AI to diagnose an issue without giving it a very good question. If it's particularly a medical issue, you need to ask it for all possible situations and ensure that the diagnostic it's given is based on all of its knowledge set. Because, and then it continue to like, you make sure it's got the context, continue to question it, to ask it if it's right. And that's where, really someone who has some domain expertise does come in and can provide some very good insight and alignment to those AIs. So, yes, the AI isn't the be all and end all. It's doing some incredible stuff. If you're not using AI, it's going to take a lot longer for you to research and come to a solution. Now we're seeing the strategic work coming in from people with that domain expertise to challenge the AI. So just last month, there was an event where Australia's AI Month showcased how businesses are grappling these ideas. For example, there's talk about mandatory AI guardrails for high-risk settings like hiring or lending coming in 2025, but it's all about building trust so customers feel safe while companies innovate. Honestly, it's a fascinating time and it's only getting bigger. What's your take? Are we moving fast enough or too slow? Hit me up in the chat. I'd love to hear your thoughts. So I'm just going to take a quick moment to break from that and step back. There's a lot been happening in the space. And yeah, this is pretty wild. So I will go to the next slide. If you haven't seen this already, this is what I experimented with last week. This is a very, very interesting use case that I think will change a lot of the ways that we do business. So what I did was I had a product mock-up on the left. I put it together with Canva in, 30 seconds, just put my logo on there, put some text in there, and just whacked it on a simple can lying down. So you have an idea for some merch, whether it's a shirt or it's a product you want to launch. You're able to actually quickly get the product, a mock-up of the product, then create an image of the product in any scenario. So I fed this one after brainstorming with ChatGPT, the best sort of product I wanted to build, what's a great product for me to launch, which would enhance my core business. And so we brainstormed, we built this product as an idea. It gave me the idea and then generated a light image of it. And I just waxed my logo over the top. The next step was I went, well, now, and I've got all the prompts here. If you want them, I can give them to you. But I asked it to then put that on a beach chair in front of the beach and some waves with a serene background. So that's what it's done here. It's actually then softened the logo and layered it onto it with the lighting. I think is incredible. It's kept the words there as well. So that's done a great job of that. This is something that the model wasn't able to do until probably a week or two ago. And so it's done that. And then when you look at this video, I asked it to then generate, some kind of animation where the water, the sparkling water is erupting in the middle. And you can see it starting to really understand physics here. Like the can moves, the waters move, but I'll just show you. That's the best way to do it. Is that was all generated with a AI. This process took me under an hour. I'd say 30 minutes to an hour to do. A few iterations and we got through, but a 3-step process of going from idea to concept to promotion. And I was just at awe of what we could do now. This is the new update with ChatGPT. It's very capable at image generation and video generation now. There's other updates with ChatGPT that just launched, including they've got a very fast model that they kind of sneak peek to the community last week. I've got a post on that on my Facebook, but I can show you it's their new chat GPT 4.1 model. It's very, very fast and impressively fast at coding. Is it great at reasoning? Not really, but for a very lightweight, cheap model, it is incredibly capable. And it's just adding another model to the options of models that you have on GPT, on the GPT model selector. So that'll be a problem they need to solve soon. Luckily, I'm still able to identify the right model for the right use case. If you're still using just GPT-4 or 4.0, you need to try some of the other models. And that's just a simple fact, particularly if you've got Plus, you're paying for it. And if you aren't using the reasoning models and all these other new models that are coming out, you're just not using it to its full extent. And yeah, highly recommend we have a little Kickstarter session, 30 minutes to an hour, and I can teach you some of the tricks of the trade. And I'll go into some of these later on. All right, so a post that really got me was this. We've seen a lot of talk about tariffs and how they're affecting the market, and there is a bit of fluctuation. It seems like tariffs are more of a bargaining tool at the moment for the administration, so they can get people to come to the table and renegotiate their trade deals. It seems that most governments have come to the table to renegotiate the trade deals. I don't know if the tariffs are going to last too long, but there definitely was a leverage point to bring people to the table and have a serious conversation. At this point, yeah, we've got some manufacturing coming back to the US, which is the semiconductors, which is very hard because semiconductors required a highly, highly skilled labor force. And I know many people think that, China is bang for buck. Really, their cost of labor has come up significantly. They're almost very similar or on par in the US in many aspects for their, the labor costs, but they have the highest density of skilled work in the world. You're just not going to find that. So some interesting memes spread around about if we did take it all back to the US, what would that look like? There was a great meme, I'll bring it up later, where it has a whole heap of really overweight people making semiconductors and shoes, and just really sweating. I thought that was interesting because, yeah, I mean, the US, unfortunately, US is unfortunately very known for being unfit, and as well not very switched on and skilled. Nothing against US. There's very fit, very smart people I know from the US, but as general, you need a high density of very skilled, very committed people to build these semiconductors. So this news shocked me because there are actually efforts from TSMC, which is in Taiwan, to bring back a lot of the manufacturing to the US with a number of other companies in that to start building almost $500 billion of infrastructure in the US. So NVIDIA has been committing to that. Is that going to happen? Let's see how it goes. If they do start doing a lot of manufacturing there, I hope the US can improve their talent density and bring it all there. They could do it, but the costs to compete with China on the cost factor, the only reason they're cheap at the moment is because they got such a high density of work. The risks are limited. They've got tools. They've got the advanced tools and electronics just available to them very close by. So there's so much innovation that they can do in a short space of time because everything's just there. The workforce, the tools, everything comes out of China. We have to wait months or weeks to get things from China. They only wait sometimes half a day to a couple of days to get things from each other. So there's a huge advantage to being there. I really hope we find our niches for this. Semiconductors is one of them. Pharmaceuticals would be nice. But yeah, there's a number of other things I hope we can find in the next few weeks where we're able to actually identify some clear industries that we should have partly or mostly manufactured on site, including Australia, the US, and I would like to start the conversation. So if you think there is an industry that should be manufactured here, and let me know. Entirely manufactured, is there any that you know that should be entirely manufactured here? I'd be interested to hear. Because how are we going to compete with all the semiconductors come from Taiwan and China? So, as you know, there's a huge risk of misalignment in every community. If you aren't adopting AI, then you're being left behind. It's not AI is going to take your job, it's someone using AI will. And this is just ever growing, ever apparent that there's going to be leaders in this that are going to adopt in these new tools that make them more effective, make more money, take on more clients, and just open up a whole new market for themselves. And if you aren't leaning in, you're leaning out. And what's the Shopify email that happened just last week, which was really great. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you search the Shopify CEO leaked email. And it's pretty much saying that if you're not leaning in, you're leaning out. If you're not innovating and improving, then you're just falling behind. And if you've just started to become what was the statement? Stagnation is just a lack of progress or something like that. Stagnation is not going to work in the age of AI. You need to keep be moving and adapting to what's happening. So how do you do that then? How do you start using AI? Well, there's so many options. We're going to start with using a bit of ChatGPT, and then at the end, I'm going to show you another model that allows you to search. And then after that, I'm going to show you another tool that allows you to search. And that's some of the tools I've been having a look at. All right, share this tab. All right, so if you don't know this already, when you pay for ChatGPT, there are many, many models. So many models that this is almost a bit of a meme. However, they're all good for different things. And if you're paying for ChatGPT and you're not selecting the right model for the right use case, which they've said pretty clearly here what it's good for, then I highly recommend you start doing that. Otherwise, you're just essentially paying the money and not using it properly. So, and there's probably someone else in your team or your competitor that's using the right model for the right use case. And if you're pumping out research and doing research and emails and everything, and you're not using an advanced reasoning model, your emails will be night and day different. And I'm starting to tell when people are just using the basic models versus the advanced ones to pump out emails, particularly even social media content. It's pretty night and day now. And yeah, you don't want to be caught out on that. This is what I'm saying about being adaptable. You need to know the new models. So 4o is the best general purpose model. That's going to be the one that does all your image generation. And that's the one that I used when I was doing my my image before. So what we can do is we can start with that. It's pretty good for most tasks. If I was going to show you another task from here, yeah, I'll show you that next. But I'll upload a quick picture from, where do we have? All right, I've got this example here. All right, so this is the example I fed it before, but we're going to do a t-shirt. We're going to grab that t-shirt and say, now put this on a male model in the middle of Sydney Harbour on a ferry next to the bridge. The model is smiling and using ChatGPT on their phone. Okay. So it's going to generate that and get that image started. It's going to be a great way to get this process started. You can also brainstorm. I normally brainstorm with O3 Mini or O1 when I'm thinking of the best ways to do a marketing strategy. 4.5 is great for writing, but you're only going to get probably 10 or 20 goes at using 4.5 for writing. So for emails, you might write 10 emails a month with this. You got to make sure you prompt it because you only got 10 shots. So I'll show you a trick with prompting after we finish this on how to get AI to write a good prompt for you. But this is essentially what you can do with ChatGPT with just a basic prompt. All right, so the mailman's here. All right, we're getting there. Looking good, looking good. Getting there. And there we go. Okay. I love it. It's so that's the first version. Is it where we want to go? It's put the icon at the back of the photo, so there will be some iterations we'll need to do on that. But that's V1. That's the first version. So then if you want to do this a little bit more in depth, we can jump into the Sora models. It has, I'll show you this tab. There's a whole heap of crazy stuff that's being generated here. I just cannot even begin to imagine what's next, because you can do almost anything. As you can see, there is just so much. You could take, reanimate Star Wars scenes. You can reanimate old photos. You can create these incredible scenes that just don't even exist. Videos, just none of this stuff exists. Like, it's just incredible to think that this is just being created. So I highly recommend using that. If you want to describe the image, I would probably make it a bit simpler than I just did then. And you can actually use this to do that. Now take this exact shirt and put it on a model in a harbor with the model facing directly at the camera with a catwalk extending to the harbor. All right, let's see what it can do. While it's doing that, some really great educational pieces here. Just wild. I don't know if all of this is suitable for human consumption, but yeah, there's some pretty funny stuff. Yeah, it just goes on and on. This has been a big one. These starter packs. I've done a few myself, which I'll see if I can show you. But the starter packs are particularly fun. I'll see what I can bring up. Yeah, I've got a few starter packs. If you want to have a look, I'll post them today where I've done the starter pack. I'll just drop it, drop the 2 versions of the starter pack. So don't forget to follow me today and I'll drop those down. But yeah, there's some pretty wild stuff in here. Just be very aware. It doesn't want to do not safe for work content, so you're safe for this. But it does like doing you can get pretty close to non-safe for work content. So this is all about to happen. 3, 2, 1. There we go. It doesn't like doing my logo very well. Okay, fair enough. Let's just do a video from this. Now have the model walk down the catwalk and do a model pose. Smiling but serious. You can do whatever you want. It's honestly whatever you want. It's whatever your imagination can conjure up. You just need to be able to put words to it. Those are some basic prompts. That's just to get you started, just to get you exploring it. Basic instructions, basic parameters, giving it what you want, some instructions of using this exact shirt. You need to make sure you specify that. Basic instructions. Now that's going to take a while to do. So while that's loading, what I'll do is I'm going to show you a little hack with AI that is going to really blow your mind. So if you want to write better prompts, I've got a cheat sheet on it. Feel free to hit me up for the cheat sheet. It gives you a nice framework for you to go through. Now, if you want a little hack for now to write better prompts, then I suggest you use this prompt that I have written here. And I'll paste that in to ChatGPT so we can all have a look at what that looks like. So sharing that tab. I would suggest 4, yeah, it's okay. But if you want a very capable model for writing prompts, then I would use O3 Mini. Act as a prompt engineer, review the following prompt and optimize it. Ask me any questions you need before proceeding. Then we can insert the prompt. Write an email to the CEO requesting a raise. I have been working very hard at the latest AI project and built significant advancements to the project around guardrails and accuracy. I want a big pay rise or open conversation. All right, very important. It's like some light context to the situation, very light information, just giving it a few things, my intention of where I'm at right now, where I want to go. Now it's going to ask me a heap of questions. So there we go. That's a great place to start. You need to then answer those questions. So confident tone. I like being direct, okay, but everyone's different. Are there specific accomplishments? We brought the accuracy to 99.5%. And suggests templates for other info. So it'll create a template for that. Broadly focus contributions. Whereas I would probably just recommend anything specific. So I would highly recommend you actually delve into some technical details with the model so it can actually write a good email for you. This is obviously not the best model, by the way, at human context. 4.5 is better, but it's super expensive. I actually use Claude a lot of the time because that is cost effective and very, very good at human language and writing. I just want to initiate the conversation, follow up. Analyze. There's no company corporate policies. Do you want to include an external factor, industry standards, reference, and industry standard? Analyze the market. And if you turn on search or deep search, it will do that. So I'm just going to do a light search and give it that. Just a little bit of search. Deep research will probably take 10, 20 minutes to complete. Highly recommend you only do that when you really know what you want to do. Search is great for just some very high level search. So it's just going to use that browsing mode. It's going to analyze the market. All right. Optimized prompt. There we go. All right. So it's given us a better prompt. We can copy that prompt. start a new chat, paste it in, and we're going to do it to this one. We're going to compare the output of this one to the 4.0 model. Pretty good. Successfully implemented. Respectfully direct this Christie the substantive. Well, right. Better align with industry standards, which I'm eager to review with you. I would appreciate the chance to schedule a meeting. That's further. Thank you for taking my request. Pretty good. Don't mind. This will then switch that, or I should just start a new chat, because otherwise we'll take all that in. Let's see what 4.0 does. I hope you're doing well. Oh, God, so generic. As you know, beyond the technical execution, it's just not that great. Optional insert specific examples. Okay, I would recommend you do that. Look, it's probably a better email than what you would have written, but it's not the best. Okay, it's not the best email that you would have ever written. So is there better ones? Well, I actually build these workspaces for people where you can have a tuned communicator to the style, so you don't have to give it all that prompting. And I've already done that with this model, and we're going to compare that. It's tuned to the way I like to write. It already has specific questions to actually refine it, but it's given me a brief start. I hope this note finds you well. Okay, it's pretty good. But this one, when you prompt it, it can be more natural and professionally humble. All right, skipped that part. Thank you. The growth and learning opportunities I've experienced here over the past time period have been incredible. I particularly wanted to share some thoughts about my recent work and role evolution. I like that. I think that's actually really nailed that, because it's not really thinking about that person. It's trying to look through the lens of the CEO and think about what they want to hear. They want some thoughts on their recent work and role evolution, like how they can evolve in the company and probably add more value to them. That's what they would be thinking. Meaning through breakthroughs, the guardrail system we developed achieved a 99.5% accuracy, an outcome that honestly exceeded even my optimistic expectations. Great. I love that. What I found particularly rewarding, so good, this language, was seeing how this, and maybe I'm biased, you can tell me if not, but how improved accuracy directly impacted our clients' confidence in our solutions. That's what a CEO wants to hear. Through this project, I've naturally taken a broader responsibility in areas like AI safety and additional area. While I'm genuinely excited about these new challenges, I believe it's good time to have a thoughtful discussion about ensuring my compensation reflects these expanded contributions. This is so good. If you wanted to make more money at work, this is how I would write that email. Comparing it to the O3 Mini, it felt kind of robotic and non-genuine. This one really hits that mark. Like the ChatGPT models don't hit that mark as well. Why? I mean, I can only look at their training data. Most of the time it's trained on research, whereas Claude is just trained on a much broader context of data and really well aligned to where it, like how it wants it to talk, based on human input. But this just really nails it. Yeah, grateful to grow within our team. It's great. I love that. So let's, last but not least, jump back and have a look at this video. All right. All right. We've got some cut shots here. We've got some interesting facial expressions. It's not quite smiling. This will take a few iterations to get it, but hey, it's you could launch a product on that, I reckon. Look at this shirt. Look at this shirt. And there's some other tools in there if you want to, really expand on that. You can recut it, you can remix, you can blend this video with another one, you can loop it infinitely like what it's doing at the moment. You can create a big storyboard on this and a few others. So it's got some great editing tools for video producers. I don't mind the Sora platform. I think it does a great job at a lot of things. I can also take this model and put it into the workspace, and we can tune that for a specific use case, like blog images, social media images, all staying consistent with your brand colors. There's some really interesting ways to do that and some outputs that you can get from that. Particularly, I can show you a few, but they're all on my website. Yeah, I mean, last but not least, I can show you what's been generated on my website. And that's a great example of what images I've done. So that video in the background, all AI, completely AI. It's another world. It's a complete other world created by AI. And I think it's done an incredible job of picturing that, making the planet move, making these things move slightly as you go through. It's just incredible. I really like what it's done here. This is obviously, animations built by my front-end engineer. They've done a great job of doing that and balancing it all. But all these words are AI. I just like the human touch at the end, and the AI helps with a bit of styling, but the human touch does a great job. Some testimonials. AI loves that when you're suggesting your website. And yeah, you can really dive in there. Oh, look, there's me. So yeah, there's a whole heap of things we can talk about. Security with AI is another one. We can actually ingrain some really good security methods into using AI. So I highly recommend we start that conversation if you are using it. If you've already got someone that's using it or someone who's setting up some things, feel free to have a chat with me, and we can bounce some ideas around, make sure it's all making sense. But yeah, I've got some free resources on here. We've got a cheat sheet. If you want to download the cheat sheet, just check your email in there, and some free resources here for you to use. If you want to check out my workshop pack, that's there. I've got a heap of other tools in my link tree. I've got a business advisor here. If you want to chat with Beth, he's a bit of a legend. And I've got all the events that'll be coming up soon. They'll be shown in this calendar. I've got a bunch of workshops already ready to go. And yeah, I've also got my AI chatbot here, so you can talk to them and ask it about things. So how can I book a session with Huxley? There we go. Oh, you can email him or click on that. And yeah, that's how you do it. Book a session with me. All right, I'll leave you to it. That's been more than enough time. I hope you got a heap of value out of that session. It's been a lot of fun staying up to date with everything that's happening in AI. Did I forget anything? Did I forget? I feel like I've pretty much covered it all. There was one tool that I'm looking at the moment, and that is Lindy. It looks pretty interesting. Look, some of these agents can be achieved with some integrations with N8N and Make. You can achieve very similar things to this. This is just a very probably user-friendly platform to use. Very no code, probably no code at all. There are no code / low code solutions that are coming out for larger teams. So if you are doing that, I'd highly recommend we have a chat about mapping that out and making sure the integration points all make sense. But there are some of these for smaller teams that can really help with email automation, keeping your inbox free, writing some emails for you, letting the AI do the work. Some interesting stuff like this. I'm going to check this out for the next week, let you know what I think. But so far it looks pretty good. I've personally had a bit of success with automation across my social media. But yeah, to dive in and have a look at this is a very interesting tool that I'll be testing out in the next week. It takes a lot of time to really test these tools. So yeah, I will show you that when it's ready. And then I also have Grok, which has been one of my daily drivers because it searches all of Twitter and has a great deep research function and even deeper research functions. That has been a great tool for me. I love the context it gives me. It's also a little bit less biased than ChatGPT. It does show you a bit more information at a more factual level. So yeah, that's been a great tool for me to search all of Twitter or X for the latest news in AI for finance in the last week in Australia. That's going to do a light search on that, show me some posts from Twitter and from the web pages. It doesn't have all posts on X at once, of course, but it does have a few. With digital banks and fintechs starting to use AI-powered mobile-first models to challenge traditional banks. And yeah, there's some really interesting upskilling happening, which is something that I'm getting really into. Running workshops, you can get a power hour one-on-one, or we can do a group workshop, and those typically start from about $1,000 for 2 hours. If you want one of those to get your team started in AI, I'll happily do that. It's not going to take time out of their day and is far less than what the other consulting firms charge. And yeah, if you want one of those, just swing me a message and we can chat. All right, that's been a big session. Really, I feel like I'm just charging through it so fast. So if you need me to slow down, let me know. Thanks, Matthew, for your participation. It's always great to have you here. Yeah, I just feel like I'm diving into it all so fast. So if I am going too fast, let me know. I just like to keep that pace up and to keep the energy there. So yeah, I look forward to doing more of these. Same time next week, 10 a.m. Australian Brisbane time, or we can drop into another session outside of this. I'll be in a few podcasts over the next few weeks, so there'll be some of those dropping. Just signed some pretty decent deals with the government here, so that's going to be pretty interesting to see how that all plays out, because I think there's some really cool opportunities in this space to upskill the workforce and to get people using it, because a lot of people know how to use it, know that they need to use it, but they don't exactly know how. So happy to upskill you if you are an AI consultant, or if you've got a team who is getting into AI or not in AI yet. I've got some workshops for you all the way from start to optimization. And happy to lend some of that IP that I've spent the last 10 years or so aggregating, and just to break it down into something simple for you. All right, that's me. Thanks for being here, and I'll end the live stream. Cheers.